Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Catherine, a comedian.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Catherine is my best friend, and if you are new to our podcast, welcome.
Yes.
We're excited
Hello
to
there.
be here. Happy to have anyone who's listening.
Yes, as always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to give you a little heads up of what we do here at the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast, we bring a different topic every week.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just starting with us, you have 37 other episodes that you can listen to once you're finished listening to this one, because this is the 38th episode.
Binge listen.
You can binge.
Take a trip and just listen to us the whole time. We'll keep you company.
Yes, it'll make it go by so fast.
Uh-huh.
I think I like to listen to podcasts when I'm cleaning the house because
Yeah.
it makes the time go faster.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to listen to podcasts when I'm farting. You know what
So
that
you're going to
is.
have to explain what
Farting.
farting is.
When you're putting on your makeup.
Yeah. And how do you
and-
spell it?
I think it's Farding.
Yes. Not
Duh.
T like Tom.
Yeah, because that's a quick thing. Just
Yeah.
whoop, there it is. Okay, well, and this episode, in case you're wondering, is sponsored. We have two sponsors,
Muffin and Pooh.
our husbands,
Yes.
Kenny and Ron.
Right.
Ron is Muffin, Kenny is Pooh.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to make you gag with our nicknames, but
It's actually funny.
yeah.
They're both construction guys, labor type guys, and
Yeah.
whatever. They would never admit outside of
No.
this little circle here
Mhm.
that they're Muffin and Pooh. But they are, and they sponsor this podcast because they are supportive of us, their wives,
Mm-hmm.
and happy that we're, I don't know, doing this.
They do it. They're smart.
They're
smart
They
men,
are smart.
Because they know if they didn't support us,
We'd be mad.
Yeah,
We would.
that's not very smart.
We would hold it against them. All right. Well, what's our topic today, Catherine?
Home safety and security.
Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that topic.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes before we tackle and do our research, I'm like, what are we gonna say about that? And there's always plenty to say.
There is. When we first started and launched the podcast, we came up with our topics for the year. We brainstormed actually on a trip to Florida. That's how we were sitting in the back seat, and my husband and son were in the front getting us there, and we were brainstorming. What do we think people would want to hear about? Well, home security, I think everybody needs to be reminded.
It's a big deal.
Oh,
It's a big problem.
it is a big problem.
Yeah. Well, not the security, but the burglaries.
And far better to be prepared
Yeah.
and to discourage that type of incident
Mm-hmm.
than to have a reactive situation where now you're reacting to something that's happened.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm giving you this.
All right. And we do have a couple takeaways planned. The first takeaway is just general awareness. So
Yeah.
you're going to leave this 40 minutes. Usually our podcasts are 45-ish minutes, whatever, under an hour usually. You're going to leave this time with us having a much greater awareness of home security and how to keep yourself safe.
Yeah. Why you should actually.
Mm-hmm. And then secondly, we're going to share 14 tips that are things you can do right now that are cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Cheap fixes.
I like that.
I do too, because that's something that people can kind of have a little checklist, and this is what we're going to do right now to make sure that we're safe. And then speaking of checklists, Catherine's son, Patrick, just bought a home.
Yeah, today he closes, so
It's
we're heading
very
over
exciting.
there. Yeah, very. So I printed out this complete new home safety and security checklist,
Yeah.
and well, I found it when I was doing the research for this podcast.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm 55, you're 52.
Two.
I always want to make you another year older.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Anyway,
Whatever.
we've been homeowners, for
Long time.
decades.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes going back to the basics to remember, oh, yeah, that's a good strategy to make sure that your home is safe, secure, and not a target.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive right in. What you got over there, Kat, for awareness?
All right. Well, I have some facts that, we definitely should be aware of. This
Knowledge is power.
That's exactly right. Knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this, so it was done by the zebra.com, but they got their information from U.S. Department of Justice and the Bureau of Justice as well. So, and it's current. So All right. Well, there are 2.5 million burglaries annually in the U.S. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
So that means every 15 to 26 seconds, a home burglary occurs in the U.S. So that's approximately,
Wow.
I know, 4,800 every day. And most of them are in the summer, which I was surprised by that because I thought around Christmas time, that's when people start getting robbed a lot more, I thought.
Well, but we see crime drop all the time in the winter. We live in Illinois, not too far from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I always hear about crime rates dropping in the winter and increasing in the summer. Crooks are cold. They don't want to be out there bothered. They're
Right.
seasonal.
I always thought, though, that those kinds of crimes are the kind out in the streets where people are hurting each other. That kind of crime.
Mhm.
That's what I thought. But I thought, more like burglaries. They're stealing Christmas packages and things like that, I thought.
Well, apparently they have a season, just like farmers.
Okay. But farmers are really earning
Right.
their living.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so of those statistics, 66% of those home invasions are dropping. No, this does not make sense. I'm going to edit that out.
Well, just to say it. What does it say?
I just have 66% of these are home invasion. Oh, are home invasions.
Okay, so 66% of all the
Yes,
crimes
yes.
are home invasions.
Yes.
All right, so you don't have to edit that out.
Yeah.
I think people like to hear our little bloopers. We're not perfect. You think they noticed? All right, so let's think about that stat. More than half of the criminal activity out there are home invasions.
Yes.
Okay, so we got to do our part.
Oh, for
We
sure.
have got to do our part to make sure that our home is not an easy target.
Yeah, because what a violation that is. Yeah. Okay.
Take a bite out
disturbing.
of crime. Remember that?
Oh,
Take
boy.
a bite out of crime.
Yeah, and those neighborhood watch
I
signs.
love those signs. I
Oh,
want to
I
get
didn't
one
see
of those.
anything about that lately,
Well, maybe we should start a neighborhood watch program.
like we did with the Peatone beautification.
Yes, maybe.
All right. And most burglaries happen during daylight hours between 10 and 3. And they're typically completed in 8 to 10 minutes. They're in and out.
Okay, first of all, think about it. What's happening between 10 and 3? The kids are in school, so that's not a factor. Boom. What's happening between 10 and 3? Usually people with day jobs, they're at their work, except now
Except
during
now
the
during the pandemic. I was
everybody's
just
at home.
Right.
And it's not like it's not the typical time that you would think that crimes would be happening right in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
You would think it would be saved for like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard that a criminal either wants your stuff or they want you.
Yeah.
And if they want your stuff, they're coming when you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's typically during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want you, they're coming when it's night time.
Yeah,
Like when you're
typically.
off guard.
Yeah. Evil.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Also, 34% of burglars enter the front door. That's a large amount.
34%? Well, where do the
34%.
other 60 whatever percent go?
I read that, and it's on this. We'll put the link in, and it's like 2% enter through the basement window,
Okay.
or it's the second floor, or it could be the garage. They all had different percentages. Like, in fact, I think like the garage was like 9%, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And, well, then I put another 23% enter through the first floor window. So that's a big chunk too. But the
Okay.
others I didn't list.
All right. But think about that. Between those two stats,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the front door and the main floor windows. Make sure that those are all secure.
Mm-hmm. And we've got some ways to tell you how to
Mhm.
do that. This reminds me, a couple months back, I did a job for this couple, and it was a painting job. They had commissioned me to do so. And when I was there and they opened the front door, they had like this brass thing that was right in front of the door that they could flap down. And I asked them what it was. Well, the husband, the man of the home, he was a retired detective or police officer. And I forgot the name of it, but it's a certain device that's bolted to the floor so that in the event someone kicks the door down, there's no way they can do it. That's what he told me. And he did jot down the name of it and gave it to me, but I forgot to grab it for this research. And it wasn't on any of the research that I looked up. I couldn't find it anywhere for home security.
Well, I wonder if we could try to find out what it is and put it in the show notes.
Yeah, let's do that.
That would be good.
Like I said, I didn't find it on any of these websites that I went to, or even on this U.S. Department of Justice or these criminal things.
Okay.
But super protective.
So that's a great point, too, is that the guy was a cop.
Yep.
He was in law enforcement.
Yep.
So guess what?
He knows.
He knows.
He assured me. He said, you cannot kick this door down.
Okay, so let's definitely make a commitment to find out what it is and put it in the show notes, even if you have to call them and say, hey, what's that thing? Because that would be something that I'd be interested in. If 34% of burglars are coming through the front door, let's secure the door. Let's make sure the door is absolutely buttoned up.
Right, because I mean, I don't know what you have in your list of 14, but there are things like the inside the key lock, like things that make the door jamb more secure. But this was something even more tamper-proof. So,
you know, another point that comes into my mind as we're talking about this, because we're referring to this man who was in law enforcement. So obviously he's in that world every single day. But for Joe Schmo out there who's not living and breathing crime and justice, we're thinking it's not going to happen to us.
I tell you what, I tend to think that.
I think that's our biggest enemy, is thinking it's not going to happen to you.
Well, that thing of contentment, right. And day by day, things go by and you're safe.
Yeah.
And it says even in safe neighborhoods, by the way, that this crime happens. I think I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, how often that is. And another side note, last night when I was finishing up this research, I was talking to Kenny and our daughter Ellis, and I was saying, you know, I'm going over all these safety checks, and I said, we really have to button up more.
Yes.
For sure, because an eye-opener.
It is. And I hope that for people listening that they're going to walk away from this with some action steps to get more secure.
I hope so, too.
Yeah. All right. What else have you got there?
Okay. It's sad to say over 60% of assaults, including the heinous crime of rape, happens during home invasions.
That's a lot.
That I know. Like I said, I didn't list all the statistics, but I thought, well, I'm going to do the ones that I think are, you know, eye openers, help us be on alert. Okay. Also, just so you know, theft is absolutely not covered if your home is vacant. So if you have a home that is vacant, you're not living there. That doesn't mean if you're on vacation.
Right.
It's not covered by insurance. So another thing is if your home is not locked up and you get burglarized, insurance might not cover it.
Okay.
So those are some things to
think about
and be aware of.
Yeah.
Oh, just a
very good. Very good. So, have you ever been robbed?
Well, yes.
Tell me, Catherine.
Yeah. Our trailer camper was parked in our driveway, so our home was not, as far as we know, burglarized, but our camper was. And
was it unlocked?
It was not. I mean, right. It was not unlocked. It was locked.
It was locked.
Yeah.
And so the person who got in there, how'd they get in?
They had somehow they bashed in one of the windows, and so one of the windows was bashed in, but also we could tell that the camper door was kicked in, and we think the lock was picked or something because it was trashed. The lock. So it looked like they attempted two different ways. And I don't know what way they actually got in. But anyway, and what they did was we had some prescriptions that were in there. How they would have known that, I don't know. Maybe they were just kids, you know, looking to party or whatever they do. And because we found the prescription bottles on the driveway.
Empty? They took the drugs?
Empty. And we kind of laughed because it was nothing, you know, that was going to get them feeling whatever, you know.
It's birth
I can't even, it's something weird, you know, weird like that.
Tylenol.
Yeah. And we could tell that things were, they had rummaged through the camper.
And what were you feeling emotionally when you discovered
violated.
that? Yeah.
Totally violated. Inconvenienced, for sure, but mostly violated.
Yeah, and knowing you and your character as well as your family, I would think that it would also feel like I would never do this to someone. I would never in a million years think to steal someone's property.
Yeah, so you could add to that then appalled and shocked.
Yeah.
I think shocked too, because we were in an area, as you know, because you were our next door neighbor. That just felt really, really safe out in the country, more or less rural.
I think that's the whole ticket right there. You feel safe, your guard is down, and every once in a while we get like these little waves of crime, and a group or something will come from somewhere, and they'll pick these little sleepy areas or sleepy towns, and then you get what you get.
Yeah, and I think about that same time, our other neighbors on the other side, I believe a lot of their hunting gear was stolen. I think around the same night.
Yeah, and from the research that I did preparing for this podcast, in garages, they're looking for tools and bikes and like toys, like recreational vehicles and things that they can quick dump for cash.
Yeah.
And move on, like generators and all that stuff. So good to keep everything all locked up.
For sure.
All right. Do you got anything else awareness-wise?
No, that's it.
Oh, I forgot. I was going to tell about when I got robbed.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say that, actually.
I wasn't actually robbed. Like my home was not invaded, but I forgot my purse. I forgot it. I was at a restaurant. And it was
left behind.
I left it. Yes, and I left it underneath the table, and it was a stressful day. We had visited a friend in the hospital, and I was just under a lot of stress. We had just moved, and we had just cleared out a bank account, which you would think would have thousands of dollars in it, but it had $300 whole in it.
Yeah,
but that was a lot.
Yeah,
and this was a long time ago, and realized that I forgot my purse at the restaurant, so we turned around, we went back, the purse was there, the money was gone.
Yeah.
And
so you were ripped off.
Oh, and then I remember being so angry. For me, the emotion was anger, because we were already in a stressful situation. We were stressed about moving, stressed about finances, stressed about our friend's daughter who was very ill. And then to add insult to injury, here's somebody else just helps himself, to our little pile of cash.
Were you angry at yourself at all?
Oh, yeah.
Were you?
Yeah. And I was probably angry at Ron for some reason.
Ron?
Yeah, I know, poor guy.
Poor Muffin.
I know.
What'd he do?
Nothing. That's the whole point, is that I've tried, I don't even remember. It's been so long ago. But I do remember crying myself to sleep that night because I was so upset about just being irresponsible, I guess, because I left it there. And a nice fix for that is to wear a crossbody, like we talked about in our episode about purses and what it says about your personality.
Yeah, we may have said that in our we had a different sort of safety podcast episode.
All right, well, let's move on to what are we going to do next? Oh, the 14 ways to kind of secure your home right now. Real cheap
inexpensive
fixes. All right. The first way, and this comes from consumerreports.org. We'll put the link in the show notes so you can look at it. But number one thing is to hold a household meeting and really sit everybody down and get everybody on the same page.
Like the Brady Bunch.
Yes. We used to try those with our 5 boys. It was never like it was on TV.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Right.
But here's the thing that you would want to do at a household meeting. First of all, you want to come up with a plan. Like if the house is on fire, where are we going to meet? Outside. Right? Because you don't want to not have that.
Right.
If somebody comes into the house that's trying to do something in the house, have an inside meeting place, like, and have a way to communicate to each other. So texting or whatever. But there's all kinds of tips here on that. Do not open the door to anybody that you don't know.
I've read that too.
Remember when I just did that recently? Open the door.
Oh,
remember that?
yes.
This guy.
That was a very strange situation for sure.
It was. My husband was buying sweet corn at a corn stand from wherever. And anyway.
Unbeknownst to you.
Yeah, I don't know what he does with his time. He just works. He comes home.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, he left his wallet. And some guy found it and looked at the address and brings the wallet to the house. But I don't want to go into the whole story because I don't want to get off track here. But the bottom line was I opened the door to a stranger. Shouldn't do that. You should not open the door to a stranger. Don't do it. It says here, too, to close and lock the garage door. Make sure that it's always closed, always locked. Double check.
Definitely.
Especially at the end of the day. Kind of have a routine of double checking all the locks and the garage. You know, that door between your garage and your home.
The service door.
We never locked it. We now don't have an attached garage. In our current home is a detached garage. But in our former home, we never locked that door.
I used to see your big overhead door
open all
a lot
night
too, and I
Yes.
I remember texting you a few times
to
let you know.
Well, here's the thing, friends. You have to treat that door that goes out to your garage just like you would your front door. It needs to have a deadbolt. It needs to have the long screws, like 3.5-inch screws.
Yes.
Because you do not want somebody entering your home through your garage.
Yes.
And getting in that way.
Right.
All right. Here's the second tip to do right now. It says call the police. Call the police. Many municipal police departments offer complimentary home inspections. An officer walks through your home and recommends simple, cost-effective changes to tighten security.
Wow, I didn't read that one.
I don't know if in today's environment if that would be feasible. Because I know that the police are stretched thin, but you could call them and ask them if they have like a community safety officer who maybe they're offering a class or something at the local library. You could just call them on their non-emergency number, by the way.
Don't call 911.
Don't call 911. Or if you know someone who's a police officer, you could just check in with them and find out, what are some of the biggest things that you see, similar to like how that detective that you did the paint job for.
Good idea.
All right. Number 3 out of 14, organize a burglary. Okay. Here's what that means. Yeah, this is fun. It says it's a useful exercise to do with a trusted neighbor or friend like you, Catherine. Allow your neighbor to roam through your house for 3 minutes and find as many small valuables as possible. Remove them from your house. Let the burglar demonstrate how easy it is to find valuables.
Oh, I think we should do this.
Well, we should. Then hide them from the real burglar. That might mean buying a small safe that bolts to the floor, renting an off-premise safety deposit box, or stashing jewelry and cash in unorthodox places. Oh, and then you could do it like vice versa.
Yeah.
So you could do it for me. I could do it for you.
Yeah. Do you guys have a safe?
No. You?
We've always had one.
Where is it? We have a safety deposit box, though.
Oh, okay.
So it's at the bank. Okay. Number 4, remove the hidden house key. If you have a key that's hidden somewhere, remove it. Doesn't need to be there. Give to a trusted neighbor, like me. All right. Number 5, place keys and garage door remotes in a smart spot. Don't leave your car and house keys and remotes near the door or otherwise visible inside your house. Secure them inside a cabinet or drawer to keep them hidden.
That reminds me of, and I don't know if this is going to be on your list or not, but it's close, what you just said. If you park your car outside and you have your remote control to your overhead garage door, take it out.
Yeah.
Don't leave it in the car. I was talking to my family about that last night.
Yeah. That is for sure. And if you have a garage door that has windows, there's an emergency release cord that has a small handle on it on most of the electrical garage door openers. And that's so that if the power's out, you can release the mechanism, and then you can manually open and close the door. So it's good in that case. But crooks use that to access, and all they have to do is stick a little wedgie thing in, like a hanger with a hook, to get a hold of that thing and yank it down.
Great.
I know. I just checked ours, and ours are both kind of dangling, because it said in this other article that I read that you should secure them with a zip tie so that you can still get to them if the power goes out, but it makes it not possible to get it down from the outside, like with a hanger.
Yeah. I also read that if you're going on vacation, that you should lock, like with one of those bike locks, the track. So when your overhead door goes up and down, it can't possibly happen because this lock is in the
track that
holes.
The door goes up. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of things that if you really think it through, you can secure your place. The other thing is, so not keeping your garage door opener accessible, right? I don't keep my keys in the car.
No, we never have. Never.
Even inside the garage,
No.
I take them out and take them inside the house because I don't want somebody
We always did
getting into my car
Right.
and doing whatever. Okay, so number 6, add foreboding signs like smile, you're on candid camera, or this home is video secured. You can get those anywhere. Okay, number 7, lock up the ladder. Don't have a ladder sitting outside or alongside the garage. I know, guilty. Right? Lock it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number 8, light up the outdoors. Light it up.
Landscaping or under the eaves.
They said the best thing to do is go outside of your home at night and look around and just think like a crook. Where is there a spot where I can get in the house where it's dark and, nobody
Not
can
be
see me
seen.
from the road
Yeah.
or whatever. And you want all those areas to light up. And a good source for that would be solar motion detected lights. You don't have to worry about wiring. The sun is going to power it for you, and it's motion detected. So when a crook goes past there, hopefully that would scare him away to go down the street to your house instead of mine.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Also on lighting, install timers,
Yeah.
so that different lights can go on. Number 10, secure your air conditioning units, meaning your window air. So if you have a window air in your house, I didn't think about this. Your window's open and the air is there. Somebody can get in by just removing the air conditioning unit and climb right in your house.
They can.
All right. So there's ways to secure that with window locks and corner braces. So go to your local hardware store and get that taken care of. Eliminate hiding spots. If you have big shrubs that are really tall or bushy and bad guys can hide in it, get
Trim
rid of
them
that.
down.
Yeah. Number 12, check the windows. Make sure all the locks work. And if they don't, replace them. Make sure all those windows lock.
Yeah. And you can also do this. This is very inexpensive. You could get those pins. It's like a pin, and then you drill a hole. And it may not look nice aesthetically, but it's a really good way to secure that window, because what I read was that it ain't no thing for a burglar to be able to get past the normal window locks, the standard window locks. But if you have a pin in there, they're not going to be able to open it.
Yeah. And I think probably the more barriers you have, the more frustrating that you make it to try to get in your house, the more they're apt to just go, forget it. This isn't worth it. Because think about it. They're not like hardworking, they're not going to stick with it and be hardworking.
Yeah.
They're going for the lowest hanging fruit.
You know what's so funny as we're doing this? I'm thinking about how when I grew up, my parents were the only parents. They were so strict with safety. And, it was in the suburbs in the 70s and 80s. And like I said, nobody locked their house up like we did. I mean, we would be in the backyard. They'd lock up the front door, all the windows, and I was like, gosh, it's like Fort Knox, But now I think, well,
It's smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
In the little town where I grew up, Depew, Illinois, little sleepy like Mayberry town.
Yeah, that's
We didn't even have locks on our doors. Our house was so old that it at one time it used to work, the lock,
yeah.
but the key was gone, and so we never locked. Even when we went away. The house was just unlocked. The keys, we would leave the keys in the car.
Wow. Yeah, when I met Kenny, that's how his mom lived for years into our adulthood.
Yeah.
She would go away, didn't lock the house. And
Yeah. Well, it's not like that anymore.
No.
And speaking of locked cars, because this is not on my list, but I want to make sure that we make a note of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest crimes, especially in the summer, is car burglaries and people just going in and looking for whatever they can get.
Yeah, because you can store a lot of things in your car.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember about your car is if you ever leave your car, even if you're at like the hospital and you're in the emergency room and you leave your Bible in a bag on the seat of your car.
That happened to me.
Yeah. Someone might think it's valuable.
Yes.
And it is valuable because the Bible is very valuable. But
and
that
my prayer journal.
Yeah, but that crook that bashed the window in, right? To get that bag.
Mm-hmm.
So Catherine was at the ER with your dad.
Yeah. Yep.
And
life or death situation.
He was having a heart event and she had to rush him to the ER. She had her sister's car.
Yes.
And it left on the seat or somewhere in the car, visible to the outside, was this tote bag that was her Bible study tote bag. I hope that person,
shiny and red.
I hope that person repents.
Me too, because the police looked all over town to see if they had discarded it, and they couldn't find it. And it had flooded that day too, during our route to the hospital. But my very expensive prescription sunglasses were in there as well. And
well, let's hope they found the Lord along the way.
You know what?
Let's hope.
That just reminded me. That's another time I got burglarized. Yeah.
All right. And then finally, number 14 on the list of things that you can do right now to secure your home inexpensively is replace weak locks.
Definitely do that.
And you have to make sure that oftentimes, I don't know why, the screws that come with deadbolts are short little screws.
Yeah.
Replace those with
the long
3-inch
ones
that go way into the wood.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's our little checklist.
I'm just going to add to that too. It also said that you can make your door jamb more secure, and we'll have to look that up how to do it. But that's also an inexpensive way if you're not going to get the door Ring brand little camera
like
by
the video
door.
doorbell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I think that more and more people are getting legitimate home security systems because it seems to me like they've come down in price as the technology has increased. The price point has come down. And so why not?
Yeah.
Why not just invest a few $100s into a plug and play? All you have to do is put it up and it goes. Video thingy. Well,
and that was another, I'm surprised I don't have it here in my little awareness section here, but this kind of burglary and crime is actually going down, and they do believe it is because of all these home security methods that we can purchase, and the prices are going down on them, and it's affordable.
Yeah. Real quick, 2 other things that were not on this list but was in the research that I did. One was criminals don't like to come across a dog. They don't want to come across a dog.
Yeah.
So if you put a sign up somewhere that says beware of dog, then they're more likely to skip you and go somewhere where that sign is not.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of they're afraid of your German Shepherd or whatever, but they just don't want to have to deal with a yappy dog, a jumpy dog,
the hassle.
a loud dog.
Yeah. It's a deterrent somewhat.
Yeah. And then the other deterrent is kids. So if you have kids' toys and bikes strewn across your yard, they're going to think busy house, skip it. I'm going to go somewhere that doesn't have that. So even if you're grandma and grandpa, get some toys for the kids.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling vulnerable, throw them out in the yard.
If you live in that kind of a neighborhood where you can, some people get violations for leaving toys out in certain neighborhoods.
And I did think about that. Like, well, what about people that don't have dogs and don't have kids, but they want people to perceive that if they're crooks? I guess you could just put the signs wherever a crook would look.
Yeah, along a fence, beware of dog, a little sticker in the window.
Yeah.
Maybe even get yourself a fake barking sound that's motion detected.
Right. That's another point that sometimes these criminals will work in groups. And so one will ring the doorbell while the other one is checking out the back.
Yes.
So if you do have something that when the doorbell rings, you hear barking, that's going to deter them.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Which would be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
And don't answer the door. Do not go to the door.
That's a hard one.
It is a hard one, but come on now. Do you think they're really going to be selling you something that you need and want? No. What are the odds of that? You got Amazon. You go in there, you get all your stuff. They leave it at the door. They don't even ring the doorbell.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, think about the times, when you and I were collecting for the poor gal.
Oh, yes.
Like, imagine if people didn't answer their doors.
There was a gal on our street who had a fire, and so but those were our neighbors. And there were some that didn't answer the door. They might have been home and thought, I don't know these people.
Yeah.
So what? We still collected a bunch of money for our neighbor.
Yeah. But the point is that not everybody on the street knew that we were neighbors.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Don't answer the door.
One.
Listen to me. I'm right. Catherine's wrong. Wrong.
I don't know about that.
All right. Well, let's wrap up with, let's do our checklist, the security checklist, and then we're going to do our call to action and a little scripture.
Well, you can get this complete new home safety and security checklist online. It's called safewise.com, and it's quite handy. Also, I got that because it was a link on this other website, and it was called 22 or 23 hacks, burglary or safety hacks, something like that. We'll put the link in. But so like we said in the beginning of the podcast, my son just bought a home today, so I'm going to give this to him, and hopefully he'll use it because it has everything from secure your doors, and then it gives you like these little check boxes in ways that you can secure your doors, and then a box for secure your windows, and then instructions on different ways for that. Light up the landscape like you had pointed out from your list. Set up a security system. Extra home security considerations. Also, garage safety checklist. And it's got some bullet points there, of course, in the checkbox. The other portion of this is on like inside your home kitchen safety checklist and a bathroom safety checklist. Hallway, even. Bedroom and living spaces and outdoor safety checklist. It's quite helpful. It's things you might not have thought of, everything from hire a chimney sweep, to make sure your chimney and all that is cleaned out.
You can never be too safe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And especially if you happen to be a DIYer, and you just love DIY, well, guess what? Sometimes when your DIY project is going to put you at risk, maybe don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that DIY thing.
Yeah.
Because, you could get hurt.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but also the basement safety checklist is got some really good advice on here too. So good to have.
We're going to put that whole checklist in the show notes so you can print it out and you can go over it for your own home. And maybe you're like us. You have young adult children who are getting homes of their own and send it to them. You can just send them the quick little link to it.
Yep.
Well, that was great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Catherine, for all that research.
Oh,
You're like a farmer, like a gardener. Of the internet, looking
like an excavator. Dig.
Keep digging. All right. Well, let's go to our inspiration.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we'll do a little call to action. All right. The inspiration for today comes from the book of Job. And it's chapter 11, verse 18. It says this: "You will be secure because there is hope. You will look about you and take your rest in safety." And,
perfect.
If you really think about it, right? I mean, we do the best we can to be as safe as we can, to take care of ourselves with our health and all of that. But we need to place our hope where it's worthy of being placed.
Yeah.
And that's in Christ. That is the bottom line. Well, I think today we need that. Yeah. We really need that hope because you can look out into the world and try to find hope and you're going to be disappointed. So let's look to Christ where we're never going to be disappointed. Amen. All right. Well, here's our call to action.
Yes.
for today, and that is for you to make a plan. Create your own plan. Take a glean from what we've shared today. Look at the show notes and glean from that. Maybe it's just going to be print out that security checklist and that's your plan. Or maybe you want to have a specific plan. Come up with something.
Yeah, something is better than nothing.
It is.
Yeah.
And then implement the plan. So come up with the plan and then implement the plan.
Yeah.
All right. I like that call to action. So that's for us too. You need to do a plan and I need to do a plan.
I'll check with you
All right.
to
Well,
make sure that you've done something or Muffin has done something.
okay. And then let's bring an update to our listeners.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I can't forget.
Okay. Let's do it next week.
All right.
Accountability. Speaking of next week, our next episode is on women and sports.
Oh, good. Yay.
Not women in sports.
Right.
Women and sports. Meaning,
Some women are just really, they're into it.
some are into it more than the guys.
Some are. Yeah,
Not me.
not me either. I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
But we've figured out how
Yeah.
to stay married
Yeah.
to Muffin and Pooh.
Who are sports
Nuts.
enthusiasts.
They are.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to survive when, it's football season
Yeah.
or NASCAR. I'll tell you about my NASCAR
Oh,
nap.
yeah, that's so funny.
All right. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.